health design thinking strategist, consultant, committed to advancing global health equity through user-centered and community-driven models. She has a disciplinary academic background spanning health and social sciences. She holds a degree in dentistry, a master's in public health, and later transitioned into the field of communication, where she obtained a postgraduate diploma and a master's degree. She's currently a PhD candidate in applied communication at the University of Lagos. As part of her doctoral training, she was nominated by the Global Health Institute for a global health course at the Institute of International Medicine, INMED, which is currently
Okay, we can't hear you again.
Dr. Balogun. I hope you can all hear me now, ma'am.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Dr. Balogun has extensive local and international experience as a technical consultant, quality research consultant, and project lead at Linker.ng. She has worked with diverse teams to conceptualize innovative health solutions, develop communication and translation strategies, and promote evidence uptake across communities. Her expertise includes communication strategies, training health workers in interpersonal communication and counseling, IPCC, stakeholder identification and engagement, community mapping and audience profiling, message development into indigenous skits and jingles, as well as the production of explainer videos and research-based documentaries. She has served as a technical consultant for international and local organizations, including UNDP, Farm Access Foundation, SPEC Incorporated USA, Breakthrough Action, UNICEF Nigeria, National Orthopedic
Addition, we can't hear you.
Hospital, Emergency Response Africa Risk Care, Maternal Iron Therapy, and HIV Hypertension Integration Services. Her work has been featured by institutions such as CCTRIS, ICANN, NIMA, and Sarima, and the MRH Research Collective. Internationally, she was selected as one of 57 research ambassadors for the Recirculate projects on water eco innovation in Africa, a 6.8 million euros Research Council GCRF grant led by Lancaster University with capacity building initiatives across the United Kingdom, Ghana, and Malawi. She has also presented her research at conferences in the United States, Nigeria, and South Africa. In addition, Dr. Balogun is an advocate for inclusion and diversity. She serves as a course facilitator at the Patrick Training Academy, where she teaches therapists and school owner stakeholder communication strategies in therapy care. To date, over 300 therapists have been trained and certified under our facilitation. Thank you so much, Ma. Once again, you are very welcome. It's an honor to read your bio. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditya. Dr. Balogun, thank you. You have the floor, ma.
All right, thank you very much. Let me transition. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, everyone. I appreciate the founder and the board of directors and the board of trustees and the team members of FAJIM for the invitation to this seminar. So I am going to try to share my slides now. Let me try and see. The problem I have with this is a new laptop. So let me try and see if I can get My son is not here.
Lemma.
Mariam, Prof, let me quickly send this to you so that you can share on my behalf. I shared with Prof. I thought it was
Okay.
Yes, I've sent to Mariam. She can share.
Okay, Mariam, please share on my behalf.
Okay.
This laptop, I'm still
let me
trying
get
to navigate it.
Okay, let me try to open it. I have to download it.
Apologies, everyone. Let's just wait for Mariam. Mariam, we're waiting for you.
Yes, please. Trying to download and open it. Just a few minutes.
All right, so while we're waiting for Mariam, let me begin. Yes, good evening, everyone, once again. My name is Noimot Balogun. I think that Shion has done the great work. Thank you so much, Shion, for the reading of the citation. So today we'll be looking at professional communication in healthcare. Why do we think this is important? Why do we think we need to be able to develop capacity in this? Now, one of the things that I know is that when it comes to engagement generally, the nature of medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, medical laboratory technology, every form of health sciences, the nature is such that at every point in time, you would have to discuss, you would have to say something, you would have to engage, you would have to communicate. So next slide, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So communication isn't an ad hoc, isn't something that you're going to be thinking about later. It's actually expected to be a skill. A skill because okay, let's say that in our first year, our second year, we're doing the different proses, we are doing one prose or the other. But by the time you get to preclinicals and clinicals, you would be expected to go to ward rounds. In ward rounds, you'll be expected to speak with patients. You'll be expected to present to the supervisors or the residents or the professors, as the case may be. At some point, maybe when you're in 500 level or 600 level, depending on the time when your school does this, you would be expected to develop questionnaires or develop interview guides for a research that is like a dissertation that you must pass before you leave school. Now, guess what? When you are doing the research, a lot of times you would need to speak with people. You could be speaking with your colleagues. You could be speaking with people in the communities. You could be speaking with people in business communities. And at the end of the day, by the time you also finish, at some point, we would also have the public. Oh, now you've done this research. There's a need for you to disseminate it. How do you disseminate to the public? So essentially, communication is essentially the bridge between knowledge and action. So you know something. You now want to put what you know into action. You have to be able to either discuss with yourself or discuss with your team members or discuss with your investors or discuss with the government or discuss with anybody who is going to make your work becomes, actionable. Are we with me? Is everybody
Yes,
here?
ma'am.
Let me be
Yes,
sure.
Maria.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
Well, yeah.
for today, we will be looking at professional communication. Now, professional communication is kind of different when you look at the old communication, because I mean, the old communication, you're looking at the public, you're looking at talking to people in the public. However, for professional communication, here we'll be looking at some peculiar kind of circles, the medical professional circles. So this is you wanting to present to your supervisor, wanting to present to your residents, wanting to present to your professors. This is you in a research community. Oh, now you've done your research, yourself and your supervisor, and your research was accepted for oral presentation in Canada. You would have to learn how to present to people in the research community using the research methods, right? Using the research language. Then we would also have the non-medical professional circles. Let me give you an example. So you've done a research and part of it involves tech. If you're going to, let's say you need money to have this, discussion, you would have to pitch whatever it is that your project is about in a tech language. Guess what? The non-medical professional circles, they do not want to know about your malaria and how it helps, how these parasites can do this. It doesn't make sense to them. If you're going to talk to a Dangote isn't so interested in the cholera and how the Vibrio cholerae is going to do this and that. Dangote is looking at you and asking, okay, this cholera that you said you want to sort out, when you do it, how is it going to be of relevance to me as Dangote Industries? How is this thing going to make sense to me as an investor if I decided to invest in your project? So God help you if you do not understand the commerciality of whatever it is that you are presenting, then there's going to be a big problem. Because for non-medical professional circles, the commerciality or the dividends of what you are doing in terms of democracy, if you're talking to government, are the things that would make sense to them, not the pathophysiology of your work. The pathophysiology of your work, as much as we know, is going to be good to your medical community and at most the research community. But immediately you want to talk to the economists, the people that are going to determine the budgets, or the people in economic planning that are going to plan whether your project is worth putting in the agenda. Those ones, they just want to know the impact of your work and how it is going to make life and living easier. Are we there? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. Right.
So
Respond,
this then means
scholars.
that the same issue around malaria would have to be discussed in different ways to the same people that you tag as professionals, depending on which kind of professional this person is. So if this person is a medical professional, oh yeah, you can go on to talk about the pathophysiology and how this and the differential diagnoses and all of that. But immediately you're going to the research community, it's changing a little bit. Because in the research community, you want to be able to look at the prevalence, you want to be able to look at the incidence, you want to be able to look at the odds ratio, you want to be able to look at the differences, the significant differences and relationships. By the time you are moving to the non-medical professional circle, they may just need a page, just one page of infographics for you to talk about everything you've done for 1 year. So if you are the type that says, oh, I don't need communication, at this point, you have a good project, you understand it, but unfortunately, you cannot communicate it. And as such, nobody's going to invest in you. And this is the reason why communication is actually the bridge between knowledge and action, and is a skill. Next slide, please. So now there are a lot of channels that we use to communicate. We have the emails, we have the conference call. This is like a conference call. We have the SMS, we have the physical presentation, we have the social media comments. It's a channel. All of the comments that we give on social media, just wait till you become a Nobel laureate in the next 5 years and somebody will pull out those comments and it can make or mar you. So those comments are also going to be under professional communication depending on the case. We have the social media messages when you send a LinkedIn message to somebody, when you send a Facebook message to somebody, and then we have the real-time messages, all of the WhatsApp message, that straight up, you can quickly send something and people get it from anywhere across the world in a jiffy. Next slide, please. So now what are the principles? This is where we're going. The first thing is for us, when we are looking at professional communication, you can see now that I have removed public communication out of this. We are not talking to the woman in the market. We are not talking to our patients, that even if the patient isn't feeling somehow, even if the patient isn't feeling you, patient needs to be treated anyway, so the patient will not mind. No, we are not talking about those ones. We are talking about the people that whatever it is that you've discussed with the patient, you need to be able to learn how to discuss with these people to make sense of whatever it is that you said you know. So know your audience, understand the structure. Under the structure, we're looking at the introduction, the body of whatever it is that you want to say, and the conclusion. This structure can be as small as an SMS message. So I'm going to take it one by one. So don't let me talk about it now. We have the clarity of words, and the last one is the periodic evaluation. One of the things that I try to teach my teenagers is a sense of that there's a need for them to develop a sense of self-audit. Anybody that cannot self-evaluate, we have a very difficult time in becoming a leader, because leadership is service. And for you to be able to serve, there has to be some sense of introspection and evaluation. Next slide, please. So we take it one by one. Who is your audience? Now, sometimes I tend to see people who, maybe they've been having a discussion with somebody and all of a sudden they realize that this person is even 21 years. Now, wow, I'm even older than this person. And naturally, everything about them changes concerning that person. Hello. If that person is the person in charge of what you need, you had better recalibrate your head or your mindset to understand that as we speak, that person is in a cadre or in a position to make or mar you. So whatever respect that the authority of that person deserves, you are going to give it to that person. So it doesn't matter whether, this person is 90 years old, or this person is, say, 22 years old. If this person is a country representative of Dangote, Industries, or country representative of Goldman Sachs, it doesn't matter. The person is the one representing that office. And as such, you are going to talk to the person as if you are talking to the representative of that office. Good day, Mrs. Petra. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do this and this. My name is this. So in this particular stage, you see people just simply because they checked somebody's, status or somebody's profile on LinkedIn. And from the profile, you can say that this person is even like my age mate. This person cannot even be as old as I am. And then the next minute you say, hi, Angola, the way they usually say it. Hello, hi. There's nothing wrong with you just saying good day. If you are going to be talking to that person because of our office, you've seen that that person is a country coordinator for UNICEF. You want to do something with UNICEF. It is the office that you're sending a mail to. Good day, Miss Petra. Miss in form of MS, right? Except if the person puts MISS herself. Good day, Miss Petra. Thank you so much for the mail that you sent. My name is Abimbola. I am one of the FAJIM medical scholars, and I am reaching out to be able to talk about my project. you did mention in your last email that I needed to give a simple summary of what my project is all about. I have written a one-page summary, which I have attached to this mail. Kindly peruse and let me know your reviews. I am available to answer if there are any clarifications. Thank you so much, and expecting your response soon, or thank you in advance. Yours sincerely, put your signature, put your name. You don't automatically turn it to informal because as far as they're concerned, this person is even in Nigerian. So this person that is in Netherlands is even in Nigeria like me. It doesn't matter. That person is the authority that you want to talk to, and it still doesn't change. Secondly, gender. I see this a lot. You would see people that are straight up, oh, maybe you're a guy. All of a sudden, you realize that the person that is in charge of something is a female and a young female. I just have to hear, I have people like you in my house. Hello, no, you don't have that kind of person in your house. If you had it, you will not be sending a mail. You will be sending a mail to your wife. In fact, you don't need to send a mail to your wife. You will just talk to your wife. So for you to have to send a mail, you don't have that person in your house. And the earlier we understand that, the better. So whether the person is male or female, in as much as it is a professional mail that you're sending, please stay within the boundaries of professionalism. Good day, Mr. Benjamin. Good day, Miss Stephanie. My name is Abosede Ganiat. I am a 500 level student of this. Do not send a mail and the person is wondering who is talking to me. Do not send an SMS and the person is wondering, I don't know this number, I don't have this number. Do that person the honors of writing your name and introducing yourself immediately, and then mentioning what don't bother asking about the weather. Don't bother asking about the rain. Just, my name is this. I'm a member of this. I am reaching out because of this. Hopefully, if these are the things that I've done in the past, this to warrant this. I hope to hear from you. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Full stop. Do not start a discussion or a familiarization with somebody that you do not know. Somebody that is not somebody that you can, not even an acquaintance, somebody that is not in any way in your social circle. You possibly just sent a mail to this person responded, you sent a mail. Do not look at the person and say, I like your makeup. Just go straight to what it is that you're saying. Secondly, it's also good for you to know people's current title, current role, current designation, and cadre. It would not be nice for somebody to become a professor. I mean, this person's professorial, cadre has been upheld last month. The first thing you want to do in sending a message or email to that person is to check if she's a professor in the school, check the school, they usually update it, or check the person's, LinkedIn account, check something that is current about that person. It won't be nice for you to call somebody who is now a professor, doctor, something. That first message can, take them off the roof and they are not even reading anything from you again. They will block you. Because as far as they're concerned, if you cannot do a basic assignment of learning to know who your audience is, then you may not be able to do anything at all. So if you want to know about somebody, just Google it. Google the person. You could even put it in ChatGPT. Check the person's school. Oh, this person works in LASU. This person is in College of Medicine, University of Lagos. Check the current cadre. Check the new thing about the person. What is the thing that they are currently working on? What is their current designation? There was a time I needed to engage a permanent secretary at the Ministry of Education in University in Lagos State. And I remember that while waiting to get into our own office, I saw congratulatory messages for her in the main office before going into our own office. From the congratulatory messages and the dates, I saw that she just became a permanent secretary in the last 3 weeks. It was very recent. So by the time I got inside, the first thing I said is, congratulations, ma. May your tenure be blissful. May your tenure be of impact. And she said, oh, thank you so much. I mean, so what that did was that I was just, very aware of my surrounding. Meanwhile, some other people, what you would do is immediately you get there and you're waiting for the person, you're back on your phone, watching the next TikTok video, watching the next, the next Snapchat video, watching the next gist on Gist Lover. So much so that these simple nuances around you that can make it easy for you to engage whoever it is that you want to go and engage, you are not noticing it until you get inside and you now start engaging the person as if the person is still who she used to be some 6 months ago. It can be a total turnoff. So you need to be able to know this. The next is the work culture. There are some culture where calling people by their first name is okay. There are some culture where it is a big issue if you call them by their first name. So what I usually tell people is play on the safe side by just saying Mr. Bello, Miss Petra. Let the person be the one to say, oh, no, don't worry, you can just call me Petra. Because God help you, if she's the type that likes Miss Petra and you call her Petra, that is a total turnoff. So allow her to decide what she wants you to call her. And that's why I said you need to understand work culture. If it is in their work culture that, I was in a global conference last year in Kenya, and there was this Nigerian, man in diaspora. From his look, I'm sure he could pass for his 60. So by the time I needed to speak with him, I said, oh, Mr. Shukbo, that was a very good presentation. Well done, sir. He said, no, call me Shukbo. So because it was now what he wanted, so the next set of information could then be, oh, Shukbo, thank you so much. But if he didn't, somebody that was obviously in his 60s, why would I want to call him Shukbo? Even if all of the other people around him who were white were calling him by his name. Those ones could be white. He may not have issues with them, but understanding the fact that he is Nigerian and he knows that you are Nigerian and you should know the Nigerian culture, why would you want to call him his name? So one of the things that I need us to put in the bin when we are doing professional communication is this workerism, the work culture. It may mar you. Let it be that until the person says, I'm a work person, call me my name. You can light a cigarette in my office. You can do anything you want to do in my office. Until then, you know the way they teach us that we should do what? Do the universal precaution. What's the universal precaution in medical school? Hello? What's the universal precaution in medical school? We have medical scholars here. You people should not fall my hands. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
So what's the universal precaution in medical school or in the clinic?
That should treat every sample or patient as infectious.
You should always wear your gloves. It doesn't matter whether you want to say, oh, this lady is looking so clean. She cannot have HIV. No, you must always wear your gloves and you must always protect yourself. Wear your gloves, use your nose mask. If you want to touch any form of blood, or you want to do any form of, sample collection in anybody, because all of these infections are not written in the face. That's the same way you treat professional communication. Until the person says otherwise, be very formal. If you're going to talk to an Oprah Winfrey, until Oprah Winfrey says, oh, call me Oprah, she's Miss Oprah. Do you understand? And then we then move to the next one, which is the personality of the audience. So I mentioned this earlier. If you're talking to business people, you don't want to get that. So the first thing you want to do is before you go to a conference where you know that the people that are there are economists accountants, business-minded kind of people, the first thing you want to do is to say, just put it in ChatGPT or DeepSeek. Put a summary of your project and put it there that, I want to go and see business people. I want to go and pitch to them. With this project of mine, this summary, what are the things, how do I discuss with them in such a way that I can connect with them how do I commercialize this particular project so that I can be able to connect with them as business people? It will bring it out for you. Because when you're talking to business people like Dangote, Tony Elumelu, you're going to be talking about the social impacts of your project. What does this project mean to health indices? Knowing fully well that our health indices is an indicator of human capital index. Human capital index is one of the determinants of national growth. National growth is one of the determinants of the development index of the region. So if the first thing you're looking at is, under the African Agenda 2063, my project falls under this, which says sustainable livelihoods. This is what I am going to be doing in empowering women in the communities where I'm going to do the work. The women that I am especially interested in are the vulnerable groups of pregnant women, widows, women who have teenage pregnancies, and elderly women who also need care. These women, based on the vulnerability index, are people whose welfare is usually prioritized according to the Sustainable Development Goals and global priorities. You can see the way it is if you're talking to a development partner. Now, if you're going to talk to, that's a development partner. If you're going to be talking to a business partner, you would change it and then go, productivity is defined by, so we first started by saying there's a very common quote which says health is wealth. A healthy nation is a wealthy nation. This means that productivity actually is built from a healthy workforce. So in a place like Dangote Industries, the workforce remains significant and critical to productivity or sustainable productivity of Dangote products. This is the reason why we are interested in ensuring that we develop the malaria vaccines that can be given to women, men, and even nursing mothers in your vicinity or in the communities where Dangote Industries are. This will position Dangote Industry as a socially responsible company that is not just making profits, but is also very environmentally aware and is also interested in the livelihood of the citizens around his workplaces. Can you see the difference between the first one and the second one? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So the difference is that for the first one, you are talking to development partners. So you are looking at the Sustainable Development Goals. You are looking at the African 2063 agenda. You are looking at the national, mandate. You are looking at the Lagos State strategic plan. That's the way it goes. Local government reforms to be able to discuss what you are discussing. If you are looking at development partners, if you're looking at business partners, you're bringing it to say, you're not just making profit. They call it triple bottom line. Triple bottom line is that you're making profits. You're also socially responsible about the citizens around your companies. You're also environmentally aware, so much so that the water you are using, you are not pouring it in the river and it is affecting the fish in the river, or the sewage that you people are producing, you are not pouring it inside the communities and it is affecting the plants. That is what makes a triple bottom line. Do you understand? So that's the way you talk to a business person. Now, if you want to talk to the government person, now for government, what is it that they talk about? Dividends of democracy. So you will say, if you're able to do this, the government can be able to use it as part of its campaign manifestos come 2027 elections, where they would ask you about what you've done for your community in the last 4 years. So if you're able to take care of the women, if you're able to ensure that there is no cholera, then we can say that for your local government, one of the things that your administration has done is to bring cholera to zero level, zero prevalence, zero incidence in the last 4 years. Can you see that? So next slide. I think I've taken my time. So the next is for you to structure your message. Like I mentioned earlier, you want to be able to put a message somewhere. So who are you? My name is Noimot Balogun. I'm from FAJIM. I'm a FAJIM medical scholar. I am reaching out to be able to do this. I have, in the last 1 year as a FAJIM scholar, I have been able to build my skills in data analysis and coding. I have also been able to build my skills in data collection. So I am reaching out to, because I understand the fact that your organization is one of the places for internship through FAJIM Foundation. So I'm reaching out to say that I want to be able to build more skills through your organization, because I'll be going on a break, a 6-week break, and I want to be able to use it to volunteer and also gain skills while also giving impact or giving value to my community. Full stop. What are the KPIs? I really hope that at the end of the day, I would have been able to build my capacity in data analysis. I would have also been able to help your organization to analyze some simple data that, you know, ordinarily you would have to give out. And what's the conclusion? Thank you so much, as I look forward to your favorable response. Full stop. So you structure your message like that. The next slide, please. I'm almost done. So in doing the message, I talked about the clarity, the correctness of your message. You know, there are some things that I read online. Immediately I read that thing, I know that this particular person is writing for clouds. This particular person is writing, is not correct. Let me give you a very good example. Immediately somebody comes and says, in fact, people that get first class, they don't get job in Nigeria. It's not correct. Because by sitting down, I don't even need to go far. I will just Google first class students in Nigeria that got jobs in 2026. I don't even need to go far. From University of Lagos, I'll be able to count 10 for you. I don't need to go to another school. And immediately somebody is able to do that, you become a liar. There was a program that I went for some years ago. It was a United Nations program. And they had some, you know, people from outside coming in. And so it was like a media pally engagement. And there was this particular guy who, I do not know whether it was a media person, but I mean, he was shot there this was during, it was like an electoral media pally discussion organized by United Nations. And this guy stood up. So at least the least you can do is to Google what you want to ask. Or whatever facts and figures that you are not sure of, just Google it. Just Google it. It's that simple. This guy stood up and said, oh, so how are you going to take care of the North? Because we are talking about people participating in electoral, you know, discussion in the North. In the North, as we speak, the women are not allowed to participate at all. They cannot even go for any form of political posts. And so how do we help them? And you know what happened? While we were still looking, this guy, the Oyinbo guy, just did pimp on his phone and looked and said, but that's a lie. And everybody turned to look at him. I can never forget that day. And the guy said, what do you mean? He said, I just Googled this now, and I can see that the only female politician that got up to the last governorship candidacy came from Taraba, and she's a northerner, which is true. That particular year, I think it was 2023 election, I can't remember, the lady, Aisha something, I think the lady is dead now. She was the only one that got to the final of the governorship election, the final. I know that she eventually didn't become a governor, but I know that she got to like the last 3. It just needed to have Googled it. And in the presence of about 60 people, both local and international, it was called a liar. And guess what? Channels was there, TVC was there, NTA was there, and it was carried live. Imagine if you had just checked. So you need to be very, very, and it is getting worse. We are in the era of online monetization. The more ridiculous it is, the more people will click. Please do not let us meet a scholar in that position. It is an insult to your scholarship. It's an insult to everything you stand for. That you will now go and get one thing that maybe Gist Lover said or Insta blog without verifying it, and you make it into a post. It's an insult to you. So correctness, completeness. Completeness is hello, Angu, hello, hi. You just say hi, hi, hi 3 times to somebody. They are wondering, why are you saying hi to me? Just say what you want to say and let me get out of here. So the next thing they do is just to block you. Just write a single message. Put your name, why you're there, simple, simple. The third one is courtesy. We are in another area, like I said earlier, online monetization is making people to really, really become something else. You call somebody and the next minute you are recording the conversation without asking that person that, please, I'm recording, or can. If that person is somebody that understands his right, the person can sue you and the person would win in the court of law. You cannot record me without asking for my opinion and even Zoom, we ask you, they are recording for you to say, okay. So courtesy. Lastly, consideration. Consideration is somebody has given you a 5 minutes time to see her. And then you start by discussing something that is totally not needed. Or you send an epistle just simply because what you just need from me is that you want me to do something. Maybe you need a particular resource and you just do a 3-page of epistle. I'm not going to read it. I don't have that time. So you need to be considerate of these people, that they also have a family to take care of. I've done a lot of things today now before doing this seminar with you guys. A lot of things as a mother, a lot of things as a wife, a lot of things as a student of a PhD student, a lot of things as a technical consultant. So imagine somebody wanting to send me a message and the person is right, I'll just block it. And lastly, conciseness, that's also part of consideration. Just make it short and simple. Next slide, please. I talked about evaluation. One best way to be able to be on top of your, on deck all the time is for you to evaluate yourself. When you're talking to people, the way you see me asking you, are you there? Can you people hear me? Can you tell me this? Just do some bits of feedback. Let be sure that they can hear you. Medical students, and I dare say professors, do this a lot. One of the things I usually tell my clients when I design interventions for them is to say, please do not put a professor to come and do health talk. They are not built to do it. Because a professor wants to discuss pathophysiology and all of that. They out talk to a market woman. She just wants to know what she needs to do to ensure that her child doesn't die. What she needs to do to ensure that her child doesn't have cholera. Simple. In fact, it's easier if you can turn it into a jingle for her. It's easier if you can turn it into a song or into a role play. They would connect more with it. But by the time you call a professor and they go all first to talk about the pathophysiology and all of that to people that do not understand, it's total. So there's a need. So I always tell them, a health educator is the person that goes into the community. A community mobilizers are the people that mobilize in the community, and health educator speaks to them, not a professor. That's why the WHO has something that they call skill mix, not a professor. So we need to know where and when, and we need to evaluate our projects. Oh, the outreach that we did the last time, how did it go? How, have like a correspondence form of what's that thing called? A correspondence form of desk office where people can ask questions afterwards or call and track the call and see how many people really understood what was said. And so based on this, I'm quickly going to talk about correspondence. Correspondence means that you are part of the authors of a research. You are the one that will be interacting with people. You are the team lead of a particular project. You'll be interacting with mentors. You'll be interacting with, you've been accepted for an hackathon. You'll be interacting with investors. You need to be able to understand correspondence. When you send a mail, first it starts with your email address. Please don't start with bluechick@gmail.com, sweetiepie@gmail.com, honeypuchipuchi@gmail.com. All of those things. Leave that one for boyfriends and girlfriends, if there's anything like that. If you're going to have a professional correspondence, use your name, abimbolabello@gmail.com, a.bello@gmail.com. Let it be clear from your name. Do not start with honey for you, honey girl for you, baby girl for life. All of those kind of stuff. It puts people off. Secondly, when you're sending your mail, make sure that it has the right, what's it called now? Title. There's a place there that is always subjects. So put the right subject. And then when you want to start, dear Professor Abdulkarim, dear Miss Mariam, dear, don't say hello, hi. Some people may not mind. Some people will mind. Since you do not know who you are sending to, just be on the safe side, universal precaution. Then when you then start your mail, do what you want to do. When you finish, yours sincerely, regards, warmly, and then you send your mail. When somebody has tried, for whatever reason, maybe they found you useful or worthy, and they gave you their number, telephone number. Please, you are not the type that will be commenting on their WhatsApp message. You and your family look very nice. God, when I'm tapping into your blessings, sir, they will block you. You are not close to them. You are not in their social circle. Stop commenting on their messages. The only time you can connect with them using what they've given to you, when you need to give them a feedback of the project that brought you together. The highest you can do is maybe during festivities. In fact, generally, I usually don't even bother. Maybe beginning of the year, you can just say, or the end of the year. I do that a lot. At the end of the year, you can just do a simple page. Thank you so much for being part of my success story. I appreciate your mentorship. I appreciate your support over the last 12 months. I just want to quickly mention that in the last 12 months, I've been able to do this, and your support is critical to this achievement. Wishing all the best. Wishing us all the best in 2026. Full stop. Pum. No, don't greet your family. You are going for vacation. Enjoy your vacation. That's not your business. So the next slide, please. So all of this that we're talking about is all about your digital footprint. For every email that you've sent, for every click to an online story, for every formal letter, emails, comments, they all point to the big picture. Let me quickly give you an example. There was one lady who was in a particular organization, just the same way I'm doing this for FAJIM Foundation. She was also volunteering for a particular big foundation. She's a renowned writer and lawyer. So there were like 2 people that they put under her as a form of mentorship. Ordinarily, if this lady were to do mentorship, it would be 5 million. But because she was doing this for that, the mentees would mentor under her for free. Now, guess what? She said last time she was going to see her mentee was fighting. So, no, that's come and see that this was somebody that she had given assignments. Somebody that from even her work had a lot of potentials. That color her surprised that when she saw this girl's name fighting seriously about Wizkid and Davido on Instablog, that she now just tried to say, okay, let me give her the last chance. And she sent it. You are building your brand to become a writer. By the time you become a writer and one of your books gets known, these people will come for you. Don't do this again. That the lady said she apologized and that went. Color her surprised 2 months later, something happened again and it was on Gist Lover. I think this was about Yabo Ojo and somebody. And this lady was there again as part of the warriors, fighting everybody, warring them. The lady just sent a mail to the organization telling them to drop her and that she was done. It just took social media comments. She was not the one writing the posts. It was just comments. And she lost a mentorship worth 5 million naira. So your digital footprint really matter. So it's not enough that you're a FAJIM scholar and you want to send a mail to me and you're polite. If I know your name and I see you on Instablog later in future, or Tunde Ednot, or this, and I'm thinking, this one is the one seriously fighting Portable and doing all sorts. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I don't. So your digital footprints really matter. They all point to the big picture. Next slide, please. And so for this, I'm going to end it by asking 2 questions. What is your digital footprint as we speak? And the next question, what are you going to be doing differently from now onwards? Guess what? The only person that can make that change is you, and the time starts now. Thank you so much, and thank you. I'm done.
Thank you so much, Dr. Balogun. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was very, very insightful and very, very practical, especially the reminder that communication is the bridge between knowledge and action. Scholars, we hope this session has helped you see communication not just as something you do, but as something that represents who you are in professional circles, clinical spaces, and even through your digital footprint. Before we move into the Q&A session, let's hear from you. What's one lesson you're taking away from this session? What's something you're going to start doing differently? You can unmute yourself and speak, or you can type it in the chat box. Hayode, you can speak. Gift, what's one practical lesson you've learned from today's session?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much, Mark, for that wonderful session. One of the things I learned is that I should keep it formal, like when I'm communicating with people. And that's kind of scenario, I should keep it formal, no matter what happens. Like it should always be formal. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you, Gift. I can see Tofumi's comment in the chat box. A practical lesson I have learned is to respect boundaries and not misuse illustration. Any other person? Mubarak Agbola, do you want to say something? Adiola, you can go ahead if you want to speak.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Noima, for the session. It was really insightful. Thank you very much, ma. So what I would say I've learned from mentorship was that I would really look into whatever engagements that my audience are into and use that to pick them so that they know I'm not just picking from the position of my medical experience, but also from the position of what they're into as well. Thank you, ma'am.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Adiola. Okay, the floor is now open for questions. If you have any questions for Dr. Balogun, you can ask, you can type it, or you can unmute yourself to speak. But Dr. Balogun, I think I can start with one. Thank you once again. For academically strong but introverted or anxious about speaking up scholars, what strategies would you recommend to help them communicate with confidence in professional spaces?
All right. Thank you so much, Mariam. Thank you so much for your comments, you guys. Okay, so when it comes to public speaking, one of the things I tell people is so there's no way you can hide from public speaking. The world we live in now is the world where the world is globally connected. So the next minute, you may need to do a presentation to somebody all the way that is in Netherlands or somebody in Texas. So it doesn't matter whether you are introverted or extroverted. And because I like to use practical situations, I'm going to use my husband as an example. Compared to me, I'm a very extroverted person, very extroverted. But my husband is my direct opposite. He's a very introverted person. But guess what? He's the CEO of his company. And as the CEO of his company, this means that he has to interact with, a number of their stakeholders. So while we know that ordinarily he possibly won't do a lot of chit-chatty things that I would do, but when it comes to him having to do his presentation, whether physically, virtually, having to interact with interns and all of that, he does it anyway. So it means that it doesn't matter whether you're introverted. Just do your presentation the same way you see it as you have to do exam to pass. This thing too, you have to do it as part of work. Now, these are the things that you can now do to kind of like build your confidence. The first is that you cannot do what you do not have, and you cannot give what you do not have. So anybody that isn't used to speaking naturally, one thing that you can learn is to listen to a lot of TED Talks. When you click on TED Talks on YouTube, you will see a lot. TED Talks on medicine, TED Talks on general things, and listen to how people talk. When you listen to people, one of the things that helped me while growing up, a number of times people have asked me before, Dr. Balogun, did you go to Queen's College? Dr. Balogun, did you go to say I did not go? I went to a public primary school, I went to a public secondary school, I went to a public university until I moved to Pan Atlantic University. But guess what? I remember that if there was anything I loved when I was young, it was listening to newscasters. I was addicted to them. I would listen to them, not necessarily that I was hearing what I just loved the way they used to speak. And so I would listen to all of the newscasters, I would listen to broadcasts, I would just be listening to them. And somehow I realized that as I grew older, those memories never left me. So some of the nuances, if there was a word that they used and I did not understand, I would check. I didn't grow up to watch Barney because I was always going to my mommy's shop. But when I started giving birth to myself, I watched all of the series of Barney with my children. So it was then that I realized that, those words that they would use that time, this is where they learned it. This is where I watched Dora the Explorer. I watched Barney. I watched everything with them while nurturing them. So all of those things made it easy to be able to understand that, okay, this is the way you use this English. This is what you mean when they say this. This is what you mean. A lot of times people just say, I'm introverted, I'm not confident, and they're not making any efforts. You need to make efforts. So listen to TED Talks. If you can watch simple cartoons, Peppa Pig, start from there. Listen to that. And watch how they use simple languages, right? You can also use Duolingo. If there are some words that you want to know about, you can just lead it. You could just use even Google, try to check the meaning of a word that you are not sure of. Do you understand? And lastly, another thing that you'd also need to know is that you also need to research about where or what you want to talk about. Things are easier when you at least know about that thing. So you can now build on what it is around that thing. But TED Talks, yes, please listen to a lot of TED Talks. And if you have time, kindly join the Toastmasters group. In the Toastmasters, what they do is that they teach you how to do impromptu speaking. So you learn it. I have a friend that when she wanted to become a caterer, and she knows that she's not really good with talking, the first thing she did was to enroll in a Toastmasters Academy. And so she kept having to present, and now she's better than where she used to be. I hope this helps. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Balogun. Scholars, I hope you have learned something from that. I have learned something. So if you have any questions, please type it or unmute yourself. But as you do that, I would like to invite our founder, Professor Abdul Karim, to please share our remarks.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening. This has really been a very, very insightful talk, Dr. Balogun. Thank you very, very much. I'm so happy because I've been looking for. In fact, we tried to put this across in 2 previous sessions. Since we started this program, and most of the time, we haven't had somebody really hitting it in the head the way we really had in mind, because I've observed so many things, like Mariam initially said, and I'm happy that you've been able to address almost all of them. And I'm sure that the scholars, I pray that this will really be of benefit to you, and you'll begin to, because looking through, even starting from the emails, when we send our mails to them, yes, even the mails that I send to them, if you see the way the responses that you see, you wonder that this person, and the person knows quite okay, all right, that whoever that she's replying to is not her mate or his mate. You see the way responses, the kind of responses, and even when they are responding to the program manager, some of them will, anyway, but I'm sure now that will change. The other thing that I wanted to mention is when you have a mail that has so many people on, like a group mail, where maybe, for instance, now you have an email that says from FAJIM and has all of you scholars, and is requesting for you to send a particular information. You don't click reply all. You need to know where the arrow or whatever it is that is meant to just reply the person that is sending you the mail. Not if it's asking you for, it's a group where you have about 50 scholars, and it's asking you for your account number, for instance, and you now click reply all, and you're sending your account number or your other details that are personal, you are sending it to the group, and then everyone on that group mail will see your reply. So you should always be, very critical about that. So you only click if it is something that is asking for your own personal information, to click just the one that goes to the person. Usually I think in mails now it's just maybe one arrow, and the other one is like double. So you should check it when you want to reply. That's also very important. I also like the fact that you have touched the area of social media, You see our youths now, they think they have all the power when they are on social media, and they can say all sorts of things, but you don't know that your footprints will be there forever. And anything in future that you're looking for, it will say so much about you. I'm happy that you mentioned that. And I hope that our scholars will take a heed and will not join those people. You see them, they go to social media, they talk, they say all sorts of things about the president. They can talk to, they can say rubbish about their vice chancellor, about this, about that, and they will even put their names there, not minding whoever is going to read and so on. So we should be civil. Those of us in medical profession, it's a very noble profession, and should not join the bandwagons to, say all sorts of things that are not, you should behave as professional wherever you find yourself, whatever whether it's written communication or verbal communication, or even, your mannerism too. They all speak a lot about you. So there's no how. Look at successful people, and go and look at their profiles, go and look at all the things that they have done, and their footprints. You won't find all of those there. So please be, courteous in your communication, and, respect anyone you are, whether by text message or whatever, show courtesy. Even if that person, you don't know whoever, like she has mentioned, universal precaution. So assume that everybody is your senior, in whether professionally or age or whatever. Then if you find out that, oh, your colleagues later on, then you may change, but then it still does not matter. You still have to be cautious. It's not until you call somebody brother or auntie, like we do in Yoruba land, that you're showing courtesy. So thank you once again, Dr. Noimot Balogun, for this. Something else that I wanted to mention. All of the time, you ask people, what is your name? And they'll say, I am Abdulkarim Fatima. No, your name, what is your name? Your name first is your first name, and that's why it's called first name. And that's why your surname is called last name, especially when you are starting with a title. I'll say, I am Dr. Fatima Abdulkarim. Okay? I will not say Dr. Abdulkarim Fatima. Do you understand me? Am I communicating?
Yes, ma.
So I've noticed that as well. So I think that some of these tips, you should take them and begin to implement, and spread the gospel too amongst your colleagues. And at the end of the day, the lecture usually will be on our YouTube, and you can always go back to it and even refer your colleagues to go and access and gain something beneficial. Thank you once again. Over, Mariam. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you very much. I don't think I've seen any questions from you scholars. Does anyone have any questions before we conclude? You
Hello, good
cannot
evening.
be. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
Mubarak.
Thank you very much for the session. What I want to say is, I've clearly seen the difference between communication in this aspect and communication on live TV. Because what I normally observe on the live news, so a communication between the news anchor and the correspondent, when they want to address each other, they call each other names, like hello, so. They directly call each other names. So I want to know why is it like that?
All right. Thank you very much, Mubarak.
Yes.
Remember that the news anchor and the broadcaster, they are teammates. In fact, for all you care, They may even enter that place together. Like immediately they get out, they are friends. Remember that a TV station is a workplace. So it's just the same way you would see a Professor Abdul Karim and Professor Banjo. So if they call themselves names, it's because their cadre is almost the same. They've worked together and all of that, right? And even when they, as part of it there, they are talking as a social circle. Social circle means that they are both team members, they are both, what's the word? But now guess what would happen? By the time somebody joins the call as an external person, the discussion will differ. It will be different immediately. So let's say that, oh, okay, thank you so much, Coyote, for, as a correspondent, and I start talking. And then I want to, while I'm talking, I want to address, maybe we have Mr. Ferdinand on the call, who is joining us from US to discuss this. Mr. Ferdinand, thank you so much. How is it in your area? He's not going to refer to Ferdinand the same way that he spoke with his team member. Try and check it again, except if Ferdinand is his colleague or their friend. What I mean by if Ferdinand is his colleague is, let's say if Ferdinand went from Lagos to go and cover something abroad. So they are now asking that, oh, Ferdinand, are you there? Okay, what is the weather saying there? They are still colleagues, but immediately an external person like a guest comes in, the guest will be given the due recognition and respect with boundaries. Go and check that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I hope that answered your question, Mubarak.
Yes,
Does anyone else have a question or comment? Musa Akonde, do you want to say something? Or Kazim Mayowa?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for the session. My question goes like this. Imagine in a case whereby you are on LinkedIn and you met a professional that is aligning with what you are trying to build upon. And one thing that is very, very, very common is that they are going to be having those like you that have perhaps been messaging them and they've been doing the norm. So my question is, how do you make an outstanding or like an impressive introduction to them so that it's going to make you have a distinction aside from others? Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much for asking this question. So one of the things that works for LinkedIn is the fact that Rome wasn't built in a day. I can tell you for free, LinkedIn, because it's a professional place and people do not naturally jump to each other as you just enter each other like that. So what happens over time is a nurtured relationship. So somebody has been talking, the person posts, and then what you would then do is to say, oh, thank you so much for this post. I can relate to this. In my community also, cholera has done this. And even there was a time a data collection showed this, which aligns with some of your findings. Well done. And I would read the remaining part of the publication. When you are that type, that the way I am, there are people that I see I've never met before. But when they walk up to me to say, oh, I'm your LinkedIn friend, and they tell me their name, I know them. I know them because of their comments on my post over time. So based on their comments on my post, I can say, oh, this person, oh, I remember him. That's how much the comment that you leave on people's posts lingers. And that's the reason why the comment that you leave, that's why I usually pity trolls. Because the thing about troll is that you've trolled the person and you've forgotten. Unfortunately, the person may not forget. Someone like me, I don't forget names. So by the time I meet you 5 years later, that name, immediately you mention it, I will remember. So that's what you can do. So by the time your posts, your comments on those people's posts are constructive, they are comments that like complement some of the things that they begin to take note of you. So much so that by the time you now send them a personal DM or a personal LinkedIn message. Oh, is this guy? This is Kufre. Yes, he always comments. Based on that nurtured relationship, they respond. That's the way it works. It's not a day job. It's something that works over time. And trust me, for LinkedIn, that has happened to me a lot of times. I've met very great relationships on LinkedIn that we've now moved from LinkedIn to even WhatsApp. So I hope this clears it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Balogun. Kazim, I hope that answers your question. Okay, I think we can conclude now. Thank you once again, Dr. Balogun, for sharing your expertise and for reminding us that communication is not an accessory to competence. It is how competence is expressed. Scholars, as we conclude, I encourage you to be intentional about the professional identity you are building. Every email you send, every presentation you deliver, every interaction contributes to your digital and professional footprint. Okay, so on behalf of FAJIM Medical Foundation, we appreciate every single one of you for your presence and participation. Please ensure you complete the attendance form before exiting. Thank you so much. Have a productive week ahead. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much, Dr. Balogun.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.